So the balcony was like a square. So it went from the pulpit, there was a choir stand all the way around.
Sharon Roberts grew up in this church on Chicago's South Side.
This is kind of where the church started. My great-grandfather built this.
When her great-grandfather built the Roberts Temple Church of God in Christ, it was the first of its kind in the Midwest, intended to heal.
He came here to start Roberts Temple, a holiness church. It wasn't heard of back then, and it was needed for what they called a wicked city here in Chicago.
The halls are adorned with images of decades past. But it was the brutal murder of Emmett Till, a black teenager in 1955 Mississippi, that thrust this house of God into the history books.
The unfortunate death of Emmett Till, a 14-year-old boy who was accused of whistling at a white woman down in Mississippi visiting his family and friends, was taken in the middle of the night by the husband and friends of this woman.
The men were charged with viciously beating the teen, lynching him, and tying him to a cotton gin before throwing his body into a river.
This is where Emmett Till's casket was.
Exactly. So right here, back when there were about 40 stairs, a staircase to come from downstairs up, and that's where his casket was brought up and laid here.
His mother, a member of Roberts Temple, brought him back to Chicago for the funeral. The service drew some 50,000 visitors. It was a galvanizing moment.
His mother was very, very certain that she wanted an open casket so the world could see what had happened to her son.
The church was recently added to America's 11 most endangered historic places list. So last month, when the National Trust for Historic Preservation announced more than $3 million in grants to 40 sites and organizations through its African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund, Roberts Temple Church was at the top of the list.
Our top awardee this year is Roberts Temple.
Executive Director Brent Leggs says the grant was an important opportunity to elevate the many ways that black women have contributed to the civil rights movement.
Emmett Till's mother in 1955, when she made the decision to have an open casket funeral, that not only showcased and demonstrated her character, her self-determination, her activism, but it was a catalytic moment in the American civil rights movement.
To restore the building and reimagine its use, Sharon Roberts says they will take the building back in time.
It's unbelievable because this will be the first phase of preserving a historic place. So we'll start there, and then our goal is to transform, renovate, restore the church back to 1955.
Beyond restoring the church to what it looked like during Emmett Till's funeral, they hope to gain national landmark status as well.
We're just happy to still be here for the community. We're small in number, very small membership, but we're mighty, and we plan to be here forever.
An opportunity to preserve the past for the future. Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.